interview I did for some kind of system leadership role that was outside my clinical job was with New South Wales Government, and it was quite a long time ago, so I don't remember all the details. But I do remember having to think differently about why I wanted the job and what I thought I could bring to the job. And I remember thinking a lot about being sure that it's what I wanted. So preparation for the interview was as much about preparing me for making the right choice, but also then confident enough to say, I actually do bring something to this job. I think we have a tendency, particularly in new roles, to think, I've never done that before, I've got nothing to offer. So deliberately thinking about what my strengths were and how that would be of benefit to these roles was really important, not only in my preparation, but I think also in the interview, to be able to show what I would bring. I think that one thing I remember as a question in that role was, how do I manage when my diary is very busy? How do I manage competing priorities, and how do I make sure projects stay on track? I had never had a job that wasn't a turn up, start a shift, finish a shift kind of job. And the concept of having to manage a busy diary and multiple tasks, I can manage multiple patients, but I've never managed multiple projects. And I remember answering a question and thinking I hadn't answered it very well, but it reminded me a little bit that I didn't necessarily fully understand what the day-to-day work would look like. And I guess preparing for it again would be really important to talk to someone in a role like that about what a day in their life looks like, and then think about not only what do you bring to the role, but how would you manage in a role like that? What skills and strategies would you need in order to perform well in a different environment? So I didn't get that role, but I did learn from it. And I do think that every interview is an opportunity to learn for the next interview. I do remember having a phone call to say I wasn't successful. And I do remember the person saying that she thought I'd done a really great job, and that can I please stay in touch, because something else might come up at some point. And if something else wonderful doesn't come along for me, which is very likely to, because I've performed really well, then it'd be good to stay in touch. And I remember being a bit surprised by that and not asking for feedback, and walking away thinking, she seems to think that I've done a really good job. Was she just being nice because she didn't offer me the role, or did I actually do a good job? So I wasn't very well prepared for that. And I think it's so important not only to self-reflect, but if you can get feedback. And honestly, I think most interviewers can and should give you feedback, especially if you've got to the interview stage. Then they've really had a good chance to think through whether you're the right candidate. And it's just such a great learning opportunity if you can seek feedback. So being prepared to ask those questions and being in a good place to actually write it down and think about it is important.